The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
John Mousinho explains the importance of getting Millie Ali back to his 100% most dangerous.
Millie's going to be massively important. We need all our players at it, but our wingers and Millie in particular. We need Millie to be direct, keep getting at fullbacks and enjoy his football. There's a certain structure we want the boys to play in, but at the same time we want to give Millie a lot of freedom. If he's 1v1v a defender, we want him to take him on. If it's 2v1, maybe come back out, because we'll have an overload somewhere else. But I do want him to be positive. He's done that consistently. I want him to stay with that. Without going into too much detail, I just want him to be positive and have the freedom to take his man on. The last thing you want is your players to overthink what they do on the pitch. For Millie, it's about him being direct and being free. I think with Millie you have to take into account, when he signed for us in January, he'd not played a huge amount this season. The most he'd played in the Championship was for half a season last year. That wasn't back-to-back games, but he's now started 13 games on the spin for us, which he hadn't done in the Championship before. He went from Exeter to Luton to us very quickly, and we've had that heavy reliance on him from day one. From the moment he stepped in the building, he started, against Sheffield Wednesday, and every game since, playing 90 minutes in a lot of games. Within those games you will get drop-offs in performance and fluctuations while we haven't had the chance to take him out. When we signed Millie, we thought we'd have Murph back in February, and there was Keshi Anderson back in the mix as well. They could have shared the workload. We haven't been able to do that, and we've had such a heavy reliance on him, it's not been fair on the poor lad.
John Mousinho on Millie Ali and how we need him back to his best. The player who, the first couple or three games he played for us, we really thought we'd got hold of something, an absolute bargain. As somebody who Luton had pretty much remaindered and was languishing, if that's not an unkind way of putting it, about Exeter. And he came and he just set that left wing on fire. And we really thought that we had found a genuine deputy for Josh Murphy. But he's got tired. That's John Mousinho's point. He hasn't had much match time before he came to us. And now he's started every game that he's been available. And we're playing 3 games a week. And that's too much for pretty much anybody, especially a kid who's not only acclimatising himself to Championship football, again, which is fast and furious and physical, he's acclimatising himself to a new environment, a new group of colleagues, a new training setup, new accommodation, whatever. He's got his work cut out. But John Mousinho quite rightly points out that we haven't got time to bring him along slowly. We need him yesterday. We always wind up our regular Pompey Sound chat with Steve Bone, Mr. Predictor, by asking him for his prediction for the outcome of, and if he's prepared to do it, the exact score of Pompey's next game, which of course is QPR.
Yeah, my last prediction on here was that we would draw 0-0 at Blackburn, which for 83 minutes looked good, didn't it? I was quite pleased with that for a while, and then Connor went and scored, and we said, no, never mind 0-0, we're going to win 1-0, and then of course we didn't. It was 1-1. So we ended up with what we thought we'd get, but we were disappointed. Only Pompey could do that. I'm going to go draw again at QPR.
That would be nice.
I think it would. It would end. After 2 defeats, you just want to end that. You want to snap that little run, don't you? I think if we could get a draw, have to hope that some of the other teams around us don't pick up wins. We could be in the bottom 3 by the close of play Saturday.
Ouch.
And we've then got 13 days off to wait for the next game.
Yes.
So I think if we get a draw, just starts to turn the tide a little bit. I'm going to go QPR 1, Pompey 1.
And you can hear the whole of Steve's excellent half-hour piece. He does one a week for us on Thursdays as part of our regular radio stream, or you can download the podcast, go to your podcast provider and type in Pompey Sound, and you're looking for the podcasts that begin with the word Steve, obviously. Steve is very confident that we're going to stay up. His predictions are worth their weight in gold. He's very confident that we're going to stay up. And when he says that he thinks it's going to be 1-1 at QPR at the weekend, of course, there's 2 reasons to celebrate that. One, because that's a very valuable point, but also it means we scored a goal. Remember that?
Football League World's James Soutar has put together a comprehensive guide to the programmes of matches facing the teams keeping company with Pompey at the bottom of the Championship. To read the whole piece, go to Football League World's website.
The Championship relegation battle is certainly heating up. Portsmouth, West Brom, Oxford United and Leicester City have all found themselves dragged deep into the Championship relegation picture, making up the league's bottom 5 alongside Sheffield Wednesday as of March 17th. With the Owls already down, there is a growing sense that 2 of the initial quartet could yet join the South Yorkshire side in League One. Seeing as though there are less than 10 games to go, FLW takes a look at each of their fixture run-ins, starting with Pompey. Perhaps still reeling from their defeat to Derby County on Monday, 20th place Portsmouth have some very daunting fixtures coming up. After the game, the Hampshire club's head coach John Massinio shared a similar view when talking to Sky Sports, saying, "We have some huge games coming up. Something has to change and the main thing is putting the ball in the back of the net. Confidence could be low, but I don't see that. We are doing the hard bits, but I'm not sure why scoring is deserting us. Relegation is a worry shared between the fans and us. The message is to stick with us," he added. Portsmouth now have 2 consecutive away games against Queen's Park Rangers and Norwich City respectively, before a seemingly vital home match versus fellow strugglers Oxford on the 6th of April. After the home match against the U's, a trip to Teesside awaits to play Middlesbrough 5 days later, so things don't, and won't, get any easier. Pompey then have a home doubleheader, starting with Ipswich Town, and followed up by Leicester, which happens on the 18th of April. That's already 5 games for April, yet 2 away matches in a row, versus Coventry City and Stoke City make that 7. Portsmouth will be at home against Birmingham City on the final day of the season. West Bromwich Albion. We all know there are no easy games in the Championship, but West Bromwich Albion's fixture run-in looks a lot kinder than Pompey's. Sitting 21st with 1 more match played than Portsmouth, the Baggies will be hoping that the standard shown in the 3-0 win over Hull City is kept up. West Brom's last game in March is away to Bristol City, whereas the start of April is met with the visit of Wrexham. During the rest of April, James Morrison's squad travel to Blackburn Rovers, before a home clash with Millwall. Their penultimate away trip is to Preston on the 18th, which is ahead of 2 more home games against Watford and Ipswich. By the time the final game of the season comes around, away to Sheffield Wednesday, Baggies fans will surely be hoping their club won't be following the Owls down. On paper, when you factor in the profile of the opposition, West Brom arguably have it a lot easier than Pompey. But what about Oxford? Regardless of having won 1 match in 10 by the time they sacked Gary Rowett in December, Oxford United's decision to appoint Matt Bloomfield instead hasn't exactly gone to plan. In his 14 games in charge of Oxford so far, which includes the FA Cup loss to Sunderland, Bloomfield has won just 4 of them. The remaining 10 games have been split equally in terms of draws and losses, with 5 each. Before the aforementioned game against Portsmouth on the 6th of April, Oxford have 2 very tough games, Southampton away and Hull at home. After playing Pompey, the U's then host Watford before taking a trip to Pride Park and facing Derby County, which is on the 18th of April. Oxford's final 3 games of the 25-26 Championship season start off with a home double-header against Wrexham and Sheffield Wednesday respectively, and end with Millwall away. Now obviously managing Leicester City, ex-Oxford boss Rowett finds himself 1 point below the U's in 23rd on 38 points. Having not looked at the long-term perspective of managing the Foxes next season, as per Leicestershire Live, it's clear his focus is fully on Leicester's next 8 games. Starting with Watford away this coming Saturday, on the 21st of March, Leicester then play Preston at the King Power to kick April off. After Preston, the Foxes have 5 more games to play in April, with the first 3 being Sheffield Wednesday away, Swansea City at home, and Portsmouth away. The last 2 April games for Leicester are both at home, against Hull and Millwall. It remains to be seen whether Rowett will stay on as Leicester manager or not next season, but if he doesn't, then his final game in charge of the club will be away to Blackburn Rovers.
Very interesting and very diligent and very comprehensive overview of the situation for the 5 of us clubs who are involved in this 2 out of 5 situation, 2 out of 5 going down situation. Of course, we all know that it's one thing on paper, it's another. Football is another thing on grass. So although, for example, West Brom seem to have an easier run-in than we do, that may amount to absolutely nothing when a whistle blows and a football game breaks out. However, it sounds as though what they're saying is we should hope at Pompey that the three who are going down and the three who are likeliest to go down are Sheffield Wednesday, of course, Oxford and Leicester.